So today we're going to take a look at the Vietnam War from a really personal angle. This isn't your typical history lesson from a textbook. Now, this is a first-hand account of what it's like to face death, to understand what real fear feels like, and to find a profound appreciation for life that can really only be forged in the fires of combat. But before we dive into the brutal details, it's really important to understand why this story is being shared. And this quote right here, it sets the stage perfectly. It's all about honoring sacrifice. This whole account is really a tribute. It's a way to give meaning to those unimaginable losses and to try and grasp the weight of the greatest sacrifice a person can possibly make. All right, let's get started with a first-hand look at war. You know, for most of us, war is something we see on the news, right? It feels distant, kind of abstract. But for anyone who's had a loved one in the service, it's a constant, heavy reality, that deep-down fear that they might not come back. And that's where this story begins. Not on a battlefield, but with that very personal, very human fear.
So you have to wonder, how does a teenager from the city end up in a jungle halfway across the world? Well, the path there can be surprisingly random. As we're about to see, it didn't start with some big patriotic calling or a thirst for adventure. Nope, it started with something as simple as needing a job as a dishwasher.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows you how fast a life can completely turn upside down. He's 17, needs a job washing dishes. To get it, he has to apply for a draft card. But just to prove his age, and then bam. Just 60 days later, that little piece of paper turns into a life-altering notice. You're inducted. It wasn't a choice, it wasn't a career move, it was just a sudden summons fueled by pure panic. It was wartime, and the military needed bodies. Simple as that.
So getting drafted is one thing, but becoming a soldier? That is a whole other story. The next step is a complete and total transformation. We're about to see how the military machine takes a civilian, a scared 17-year-old kid, and systematically rebuilds him into someone ready for the unimaginable.
Break you down and then build you up. This right here is the core philosophy of basic training. It's a relentless schedule of super early mornings, endless drilling, constant exercise, and the whole point is to deconstruct who you were as an individual, as a civilian, and build a soldier in your place. It's all about preparing your mind and your body for a reality you can't even begin to comprehend yet.
And this is where the psychological reprogramming gets really intense. They literally sever your emotional ties to home. They'll tell you your girlfriend left you, that she's gone and never coming back. And what do they replace her with? An M16 rifle. They drill it into your head that that weapon is the new love of your life. And why? Because it's the only thing that's going to save your life. It is a complete transfer of dependency from a human connection to your weapon.
After you make it through basic training, there's this brief moment of pride, you know? You feel like you're a part of something bigger. But that feeling, it doesn't last long. The real test is still coming. So now, we arrive in Vietnam. Welcome to the jungle. The second that plane lands, the very first assault isn't from the enemy, it's from the environment. An oppressive, just unbelievable heat that hits you like a wall the moment you step outside. For a guy from the city, this was a completely new and hostile world.
And the environment's hostility got very real, very fast. He described seeing a moccasin snake, a 14-foot monster, something he'd never even imagined could exist. His first instinct was just pure fear and confusion. As he put it, I ain't know whether to shoot it or what. But the order came right back. Do not shoot, you'll give away our position.
I mean, just think about that for a second. His first gut-wrenching fear in Vietnam wasn't an enemy soldier. It was the primal fear of being eaten by a snake. This opens up a completely different dimension of terror. One where the very environment feels like it's actively trying to kill you, before the enemy even has a shot.
After the environmental threats, well, then came the human ones. Now we're entering the carnage of combat. And let me tell you, no amount of training can ever truly prepare you for the brutal, sudden, and absolute violence of a real firefight. This might be one of the most powerful descriptions of an attack I have ever heard. He compares it to the 4th of July, you know, all the color and light and bursts in the sky. But then he says, now imagine all of that, all those fireworks, all of that explosive celebration is coming down directly on top of you. It completely transforms the symbol of joy into an image of absolute horror. And the finality of death in combat was just absolute and instantaneous. He describes talking to a friend one moment, turning his back, and then that person is just gone. Not wounded, not dying, obliterated. There's no trace left, no shoes, no brains, no blood, just gone.
This experience gave him a really profound
personal understanding of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. See, for him, it's not some abstract concept. The unknown soldier represents the friends he saw just vanish, the people who don't come back because there's nothing left to recognize. Their families just get a letter saying missing in action.
So, how does someone carry these experiences and move forward? Surviving the war left a mark that never goes away. This final section is all about the profound meaning he found in all that sacrifice, the lasting lessons about life and love and commitment that he carried home with him.
So what's the takeaway from surviving all of this? First, after having all his personal ties systematically cut in training, he learned that the love from your family and friends is the most important anchor you have in the chaos. Second, after seeing the ultimate sacrifice firsthand, he understood that true commitment is one of the most inspirational parts of life. But maybe his most profound realization was this: soldiers fight and die on some distant battlefield, defending people they will never ever meet, all to make sure that the horrors they face never ever come home.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to reflect on. If you strip away the politics and the strategy, at the very heart of military service is this profound idea: a commitment to defend strangers, to face the unimaginable so that other people don't have to. What does that kind of sacrifice truly mean?